We turn now to another of Tuesday's winners, Texas Republican Ted Cruz, a key member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and he joins us from his home in Houston. Senator, welcome to Face the Nation.
Thank you, Margaret. Good morning, and welcome back yourself. Congratulations on your new son.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. A little bit of history here. You were part of President Bush's legal team back in 2000 during the Florida recount. We are looking once again at questions about what is happening and a recount there. What is going on? Is this political conspiracy like the president suggests, or is this just incompetence?
Well, listen, I think there is certainly reason to be concerned. Florida's history on recounts has not been great. You've got each of the counties there that have different commissioners. I spoke yesterday with my colleague Marco Rubio, who's following what's happening there closely and is deeply concerned that what might be playing out is an attempt to steal the election. I hope that's not it. I think everyone needs to be vigilant. Every vote needs to be counted. But at the same time, we can't allow people to be stealing votes, and we need to be on guard against that.
A bit of both? You say it could be getting stolen, or it could just be incompetence?
It could almost always be a bit of both, of incompetence and the potential for malfeasance. But any time you have a recount, you have an invitation for people to violate the law and try to advance their partisans. In 2000, in Bush versus Gore, on election night, George W. Bush had about a 3,000 vote lead, and there ended up being a total of 4 recounts in Florida, over and over and over again. And over the course of those 4 recounts, Bush's lead dropped from about 3,000 votes all the way down to 537 votes. And the mantra of the Democrats is they wanted to keep counting and counting and counting the same votes over and over again until they managed to drop the votes to the other side. I think that suggests if you're recounting, the numbers ought to stay the same or roughly the same. And if they're moving consistently in one direction, it suggests you may not have a fair and level playing field in terms of those counting.
I want to ask you, since you're on the Judiciary Committee, about what happened this week. Jeff Sessions being forced out. Now there's an acting attorney general overseeing the Russia probe. Do you believe that the special counsel's investigation is now in peril and needs to be protected?
Well, I don't think anyone was surprised to see Jeff Sessions move on. Jeff is a good man, an honorable man. He's someone who's been a friend a long time. But it was clear that his relationship and the president's relationship were not working, that there was no longer trust and confidence there. And that's not a long-term sustainable situation to have an attorney general and a president in direct and open conflict the way they were. I think Jeff did a number of very good things at DOJ, including on immigration, including on religious liberty. So I'm grateful for those efforts. But I think it will be good to see new leadership come into the Department of Justice. Now, Mr. Whitaker, as I understand it, has been appointed just in an acting position, and the White House has announced they intend to nominate a new attorney general. I expect that to happen quickly. And when it does, the Senate will take up the advise and consent role. And I'm on the Senate Judiciary Committee, so whoever the nominee is, I look forward to hearing from that individual, their background, their record, their qualifications, and their vision for what the Department of Justice should be doing.
Should there be legislation to protect the special counsel?
No, I don't believe there should. We had a bill come through the Judiciary Committee that tried to make it impossible for a special counsel to be removed. I believe that legislation was unconstitutional, that it was inconsistent with Article 2 of the Constitution.
You were very critical of the Obama administration for taking action via executive fiat, as you said. You called it dangerous. This week, President Trump on immigration has issued orders bypassing Congress to restrict how migrants crossing the border illegally can claim asylum. Are you okay with that now?
Well, I'm still studying the specific immigration order, but I'll tell you, look, here's my view on executive orders. Let me explain my view on executive orders, whether from Trump or Obama, George W. Bush, or anybody else, which is there is a legitimate role for an executive order, and that is governing how the executive branch operates, how under Article 2 of the Constitution, the president of the executive branch is charged with taking due care that the laws are faithfully executed. And an executive order is perfectly appropriate to direct the executive branch. This is the manner in which we shall execute the law. What Obama did repeatedly that was so lawless is his executive orders didn't do that. Instead, they said, Here is the federal law passed by Congress, signed by the president, that we will defy, that we will ignore. And that the president can't do. And so that's the question on any executive order is it directing how the executive will behave, or is it flying in defiance to laws passed by Congress? If it's the latter, it's unconstitutional.
So I don't hear a clear answer on whether you think this asylum change is okay. Do you think via executive order it is appropriate for the president to end birthright citizenship, again, bypassing Congress?
Well, Margaret, as I said, on the executive order on immigration, I have not studied that order yet. It just came out this week. You know, I have to admit, I was kind of busy. We had an election a couple of days ago, so I have not yet reviewed the executive order. And I try on legal decisions. My career has been being a constitutional litigator, so I don't reach constitutional opinions lightly. If the order defies the laws of Congress, then yes, it's unconstitutional. If the order constrains and directs how the executive will implement the law, then it's not. Now, my understanding is this executive order does things directing resources to the border. Those resources are clearly within the purview of an executive order for the president.
And birthright citizenship executive order
under
that's
existing
coming.
law. The president is charged under executive under federal law with securing the border. And if the executive order is in furtherance of the statute, then it's not only allowable, it's appropriate and good. I mean, this so-called migrant caravan of over 10,000 people marching north, declaring their intention to cross the border illegally. I can tell you, I told the president just recently when he and I spoke, I said, Mr. President, under no circumstances should we let them cross. We should use whatever tools are available, whether it is Border Patrol, whether it is National Guard, whether it is the military that the president has called up. But we shouldn't allow 10,000 people to blatantly and deliberately violate the law. There is a right way to come to this country, and that's following the law, waiting in line, and following the rules.
All right. Well, we look forward to hearing your views on birthright citizenship and those asylum decisions. We've got to leave it here, Senator. We'll be back with a lot more Face the Nation. Don't go away.